Hi, welcome to a virtual tour of Trinity Episcopal Church.
Episcopal churches have red doors. This practice began in the Middle Ages. The red signifies the blood of Christ, which is our entry into salvation. It also makes it easy to recognize an Episcopal church when you drive down the street. As you enter the building, we ask that you turn off your cell phones and carry only water with you into the sanctuary. This building was created in 1858 in the Gothic Revival style. It is reminiscent of the churches in England. If you saw the royal wedding, you will notice similarities between this church and St. George's Chapel. Trinity is much smaller and simpler, of course. This building is shaped by our beliefs and our liturgy. The famous American architect Frank Lloyd Wright said, "Form follows function." As we do this tour, you'll see that our church looks differently than other types of Christian churches. That is because our doctrine and liturgy differs. Here we have holy water, which some parishioners dip their fingers in and make the sign of the cross as they enter the church. It is a reminder of our baptismal vows. Our baptismal font is also located at the back of the nave. The area where the parishioners sit is called the nave. And right now I'm going to turn the camera up towards the ceiling, and I want you to look at this form here on the ceiling. And if you turn it upside down in your imagination, what does this form look like? And I'll give you a hint. It's related to the word navy. That's right, it looks like a boat. This signifies a place of sanctuary and protection from life's storms. My friend Angus talked about Episcopal aerobics, so I wanted to show you the kneelers that are underneath these pews. They are solid oak and they are really heavy. You will get your upper body workout raising and lowering these kneelers. Sometimes people get nervous about what to do in an Episcopal liturgy, but rest assured you don't have to kneel if you don't want to. You may notice these little plaques around the side walls. These are the Stations of the Cross. There are 14 of them, and they depict the story of Christ's Passion during Holy Week. If you are not from the Episcopal or Roman Catholic Church, they may not be familiar to you. We used the Stations of the Cross on Good Friday. Stained glass windows were imported from Europe during the 1860s. At that time, it was actually cheaper to import the stained glass rather than manufacture it domestically. Stained glass was created in the Middle Ages not just to beautify churches, but as an instructional tool. Let's take a closer look at the window behind the altar. The anchor cross represents the hope of salvation and faith. On the opposite side, the crown represents Christ the King. Above that, the chalice and paten are symbols of the Holy Eucharist, the center of our liturgy. Above that, there are two Greek letters, Alpha and Omega. And if you remember from the book of Revelation, God says, "I am the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega." At the top of the window is the dove representing the Holy Spirit. The organ is a 9-rack tracker organ that was built in 1910 by Clarence E. Morey. In 2008, for our 150th anniversary, the organ was restored using the same material as was used in the organ's original construction, including wood from the Adirondacks. In a later segment, we'll have Peg and Terry talk more about music. If you haven't heard Terry play the organ, you are missing out. As we move toward the altar, we will climb a couple of steps. This raised platform or stage is called the chancel. Some people call this the altar, and they are wrong. The altar is the table on which the gospel book rests and upon which Holy Communion is served. As we approach the altar, there is a communion rail. Communion is always open at the Episcopal Church, and again, you don't have to kneel. The altar linens were handmade by parishioners at Trinity Church, including lace that was hand-tatted. The color of the altar linens depends upon the liturgical season. Next week, we will be changing the linens from green to blue. If you don't know why, come back next Sunday and I'll explain it. You will notice that there are a lot of stairs in this building because it was built in the 1860s. That was the style. We have tried to make some adaptations in our architecture to make it more handicapped accessible and welcoming. So if you want to go to communion, you do not have to kneel at the altar rail. You can stand, and that's one set of stairs you don't have to deal with. Also, if you would like to receive communion at your pew, all you have to do is stand up at the end of the pew, and Mother Linda will come down and administer communion for you. You do not have to climb the stairs. There is also a short pew, and that is to accommodate a wheelchair or scooter. After the service is over, you can come back through the sacristy, which is a place where we store religious equipment and vestments. And it's kind of a long, narrow space here. So here are all the things we need for our services. And when you go through this door up here, you come to the parish hall. And this is the place a lot of you have been. We have our stone soup suppers here, we have the woodsman's dinner here, we have our sales here, and we have a wonderful coffee hour here. Now that you know your way around, come see us at 9 a.m. on Sunday. We'll be back next week with another Facebook post. Have a great week.